Hello and welcome to another session of AZMAT System tutorials. In this session, we will go through the X menu, the evaluation menu of AZMAT System. But before we begin, I just want to go through the which version we are using. This particular session is in Excel 2007, which is Excel 12, and running under Windows XP. So let's just have a quick look at that first. In Excel options, resources, and you can see here about Microsoft Excel 2007, which is version 12 there, or in here 12.0 that now. So it's version 12. Excel 12, that's what internally in Excel it's known. Excel 2007 is known. And if I click About, you can see that Microsoft Excel 2007, and under under System Information, it'll tell me that it's Windows XP. There, operating system name, Microsoft Windows XP Professional. So we are running Windows XP and Microsoft Excel 2007, which is Excel version 12. Notice that the column headings are ABCDs. I prefer to use numbers, and when we start Excel, the AZMAT system, it automatically changes that, and you will also be able to do that. And one of the menus, one of the commands is that to change from ABCD column headings to numbers and vice versa. So let's begin by opening the AZMAT system file. My computer, this is under, so it's Excel 2007. You may notice that I have the different versions of Excel. For example, if I just go back up, let me just show you back up here. I have different versions, Excel 7, Excel 2010, 2007, and 2003, all on the same PC on this particular USB stick. So today we are running in this particular session, Excel 2007. And under the AZMAT folder or directory. So the program file is azmat.xls, as you know by now. Open always as read-only. Do not open this file in read-write mode. Because if you make any changes, the system doesn't work. Because of your changes, we can't renew it for you. So always open it read-only and keep 2 or 3 backup copies of it, the original one, just in case you've all changed it. So that's the simple password just to open the file. And the AZMAT system password, there, I have to enter that. You will be able to change this to anything, to whatever password you want to on your copy of AZMAT system. Let the user know what's happening. So welcome message. Please wait until all the files are open. 2-letter ID, I always use AA, and 4-digit password. my own password, your own password. You'll have it and you'll be able to change it. You can select any ID you want. So it's just opening up the AZMAT system. Open the user file. And in here, from this version onwards, Excel 2007, 2010, 2016, and so on, the menu system is changed completely. You may notice if you watch the one with Excel 95, which is Excel 7 or Excel 2003 in other videos, there you will see that the AZMAT system menus, JKX and so on, all these would have been added here at the end, just before the help menu. But from Excel 12, which is Excel 2007, it's changed now. You can't have it directly added there. It'll be added under the add-in, as it will show in the second message now. There. To see and or use any of the AZMAT menus or commands, click Add-ins. Add-ins would be here, situated rightmost on the Excel command bar. That is this Excel command bar. It will be add-in will be added here, add-ins rather, add-ins. And then when you click that, then you'll be able to access the AZMAT menus. Okay, so click that and watch this. There, add-ins there. So if I click that, then I have the AZMAT menus, J, K, X, and so on, all the way up to N. This is the one I was saying here. Change columns to ABC, change columns to numbers. And this is the Excel macro commands, these are, and these are the VBA, Visual Basic Applications. And the same commands are here. Change columns to numbers, change columns to ABC. But we won't go through that right now. Today, in this particular session, I'm going to go through the X menu, which is the Excel environment menu column. X menu. Right, so just to show you again, in order to see these menus, you have to click in the add-ins. Before we actually proceed here, I'm just going to restore the size here. So we have the in here, and I'm actually also going to do the Windows arrange all. So it's just so I have the scroll bars, both vertical and horizontal, to this size of the Excel screen. So let's start. Yeah, actually, even before that, as you know, to do any calculations, you have to, Excel needs to carry out various calculations on the yield curves. So in this case, for example, we've got ZRGBP.XLX. The reason now you may notice that it's got XLSX because this is Excel 2007. So from 2007 onwards, the file extension, instead of 3 letters, it has 4 letters. So the last one could be X, M, and so on, different one. So in this particular case, it is XLSX. I'm actually going to, just before we proceed further, save this file and then, so utility menu, save as my data file. So it puts today's date, 26th of August, 2017, 3:20 a.m. Okay, 26th August, 2017, 3:20 a.m. Now, so first thing we'll do is actually just do some two on the K menu for 2 curves, ZRGBP and the US dollar. We will just, in fact, we could do the race edit or file edit. Yes, let's do that. Actually, do the file edit first. US dollar. Always, as I said, leave some message on the screen so the user knows what's happening. Before the delay is because there are two reasons. One is this machine which I'm using is an older machine because it has right from Excel 7 onwards. So Excel 7, 2003, 2007, 2010, all that. So that machine is a bit slow. That's why it's taken this long. When I use this machine, this program on a faster machine, later machine, you'll see it's much faster. Now it gives a message, the usual message, full edit session is open. This will not, any changes will not take effect unless an AZMAT system command is used at the end of editing. Now in here, you notice that I don't need to change the futures because they're already, now it's 26th of August today, and the first future is September 2017. So I won't do the change future, update future days. There's no need for it. It'll be exactly the same. But let's just now, we have to go in again, use the K menu, save curve changes. You might wonder, yes, I haven't made any, I didn't make any changes, but Excel, no, not rather Excel, AZMAT system needs to carry out various calculations and on several files before any of these reference curves can be used on that day. So today, on the 26th of August, we need to, although we haven't made any changes to the actual prices or the number of futures or whatever, we still need to let AZMAT system carry out the calculation. I could have used curve file calc, but I wasn't sure whether the futures were right up to date. So that's why I opened it. So I'm just going to say, right, save curve changes. And just basically asking whether you want to keep any changes made or click cancel to cancel the entire edit session. I want to save it. Notice here, this is 14th of July, 2017. Now it will be changed to we have the 26th of August, which is a Saturday. But you will see, I'm going to open that again. ZRUSG docs XLS manual, because there is also live version. So it's a manual version which I've done, and the file has been saved. So I can, again, I have to go through the add-ins, key menu, and I'll just open to the viewing. ZRUSG, opening it just to view to see that it has made the changes. Right. Now, notice it's 26th of August, 3:24 a.m. It was last saved by AA, that's my initials. Next I open for edit and I've changed it, so it keeps a record of that. And these dates are all updated as well. Now, you might wonder why it's got the Wednesday, the 30th of August. We'll go into that later. But very briefly, the settlement is in 2 days. And the actual working days. So 26th of August, excuse me, 26th of August is a Saturday, which is a holiday for banks. Banks are closed. And in the UK, because because if you see days to avoid bank holidays with GP, BP, so Monday, the 29th of August is also 26, 27, 20, Monday 26th of, sorry, Monday 28th of August is a bank holiday in UK. And so we have here days to avoid bank holidays for GBP for UK1. So it's taken that off, and the next, then to allow 2 days after that, 2 working days would be the 30th of August. That's why this spot is on 2 working days after the from the 29th of August, Tuesday, 30th, Wednesday. We'll go into this very much in detail later on, much later on. But now I just wanted you to have just to explain to you why it's got the 30th of August when today is 26th of August. And that's because of the settlement, and settlement is 2 working days. Okay, so this file is now US dollar curve, reference curve is ready to be used in calculations. We'll do the same for the GBP as well. These are the 2 most common ones I'm using. I could be using anything. You could be using any other curve. But in here, and just slight in the older versions up to Excel 2003, you have the menus are just here. So you could have just clicked the AZMAT System menus, but in these from 2007 onwards here, you have to click in add-ins before you can get to the actual AZMAT menus, or indeed as your own menus will be here like that. As this command, this menu, user menu would be the one I'll be showing you in later tutorials, how to actually add these commands and so on later. So in here, I'll go into the K menu, and this time I'm going to say open curve for file edit, and this time we'll do the GBP. So I can just change that, GBP, and it doesn't have to be all capitals, it will automatically convert to capitals. Note that the last one we did is the US dollar, XLSX, or in this case, I don't have to do like that. I could just simply enter GBP, and AZMAT System will automatically enter ZR at the beginning and .xlsx at the end. It keeps giving helpful messages here, what it is doing. If you can read it, I'm not sure that's very obvious. Right, it has done that. Open it for full edit session. Again, these features are correct because September 2017 is the first feature. As today's date is, if we go up, this is the last time it was saved. Today's date is 26th of August. So I'm just going to go through again in here, K menu, and just get it to save the curve changes. Okay. If you keep an eye on here, you'll see helpful messages. You let the user know what's happening, apart from this main one, because you don't want them to interrupt you. So for that, please wait. Okay, it's done that, and the file has been saved. So in order to see it, I have to open it. I could have actually said close and reopen the curve, but I didn't. But let's see now. Open curve for view. Automatically as the last one opened. So last curve I'd opened was GBP one. So that's what is already prompting for that. So this is the US dollar. It's going to open the GBP curve. And there it is, GBP curve. So it's the pound, British pound sterling curve. Curve is because the yield curve, that's why it's called curve file. And all these dates here. Now you might notice here, it's got Monday, the 28th of August. GBP settlement is 0 days. That means on the same day. So all it has done here is Today is Saturday, 26th of August, 2017. So it's gone to the next Monday, which is 28th. And it's because the settlement is straight away on the same day, no extra days, so it is 28th. If you notice if I go back to the US dollar, before I go, just keep an eye on two things. Settlement on the US dollar is 2 days, and this date would be 30th of August. Whereas in GBP curve, British pound sterling, settlement is 0 days, so the maturity date is on spot. SP is for spot, and that's on the Monday, 28th of August, 2017. So on the US dollar, that's 30th of August, and that's 2 days. 2 days settlement, Wednesday, 30th of August. But on the GBP curve, 28th August, 0 day. We'll go into that later on in a later session. Right, so we've got both of these, the two main curves, which I would want to use. Note you do not have to update the edit curve, open the curve for race edit or file edit every single curve you have on your machine. No, you only need to do the ones you are going to use in any valuation commands, like in Excel, X menu rather. When you want to calculate present value, yield, present value and yield, and so on, all these commands, any of these you want to use, you have to accept check dates for holidays, which is just simply checking the actual days. The holiday days, not doing any calculations. But if you want to do any of these other calculations and discount factors, all these, some of these terms may be completely new to you, but hopefully, if you read the help file and follow these tutorials, they will become familiar. And these are the business terms used in investment banks, no matter which country, anyway, any country, wherever you are in the world, all investment banks use these terms: present value, yield, internal rate of return, we call it duration, or duration in yield curve not flat. This also hopefully will become clearer as we go into either, not in this tutorial, I'm not going to go into it, but later on as we proceed to investment banking calculations course. So, okay, let's, first thing I'm going to do right from here, let's just go to the, in the Windows, go to the user file, aa.xls in my case. Now, I actually do not need to have these curves open, these files, ZRGBP or ZRUSD dollar. So in fact, I might actually just close them, keep only this file, so I don't have to keep changing it from here, because I'm not actually going to do anything through here. These are open read only, so even if I wanted to change, I won't be able to change. Even blank cell I can't change. You can see in later versions, in earlier versions of Excel up to 2003, if you watch the tutorial, you'll see either Excel 7, version 7, which is Excel 95, under Windows 95, or if you watch the Excel 2003, which is Excel 11, that you could, if you click, you could actually move the cursor wherever. But in here, from Excel 2007, which is the current version, you can't even change it, because here it's read-only. All these cells are locked. I can't even physically move it if I want to. I'm actually clicking. Each time I move here, I'm clicking the mouse, but cursor will not move, because there's no point. you won't be able to change it anyway because it's open and read only, and all these cells are locked. So physically, it's impossible for you to do any changes to this file. This is from Excel 2007, which is Excel version 12 onwards. So it's the same thing applies to in Excel 2010, 2016, and so on. Right, so let's close this file and the other one. So I have to go through add-ins to get so I can close current file, do not save any changes. Might seem silly because I couldn't make any changes anyway, but if I use this one, do not save any changes, it won't ask me any question, it'll just simply close that file. So now I've got this US dollar curve left. You can see GBP is closed. So this time I'm going to go in here and let's see, close the current curve. Right, I'm going to use close current curve. If you notice the difference, when I use the command close, I can't use it because right now this is open. I'll just cancel it. So click OK to close, or click cancel to cancel the current command. This is because I use the close current curve command. In case I'm not sure, I may mistakenly, I might have clicked that command, so it's giving me the choice. Cancel that. If I go back in again, so in there, I had used close current curve. That's why it asked me. I actually designed that such that, so you should always give the user a choice in case they may have made a mistake. Unless they specifically do not want you to give them a choice. Like in this case, I could, if I use close current file, if you remember the other file, it simply closed it straight away, the zrgbp.xlsx, because I had used that close current file to not save changes. So I do not want the AZMAT system to ask me whether it is I want to proceed with the command or not, which it did when I used this command, close current curve. So I'll use this time, I'll use this one, close current file, do not save changes, it'll just go ahead and proceed with the command without asking any questions. There, done. So if you look at it now, you only have got the user file currently open and not hidden. Notice you also have, there are several files which are open but hidden. And in order to see those, we can have a look at it. So if I go here, for example, hide the window, this will hide this particular one. And if I use that, unhide the window. So if I actually just click that, and then it's showing the unhide workbook. Workbook is just Excel's call set. You could say it file if you like, if it makes more sense. But there's a difference. Workbook is like file, and there's a within workbook you'll have several worksheets. So that's why it wants to say, so it's not worksheet, it's always workbook, which is equivalent to file. So there is the main program file, AZMAT.xls. It's always open all the time while the AZMAT system is, your session is open. And various other files. We won't go through that right now in this particular tutorial. I just wanted to show you all these other files are there in the background and open. z1_azmat.xlsx. This is a live file which is also open whenever AZMAT system is started. I'm going to cancel this without unhiding any workbook because these are meant to be hidden all the time. Of course, there are some files like the live file. If you want to have a look at it, you can click it and and click OK, and then it will unhide it. But for now, I'm not going to do any other changes here. So we leave those hidden files hidden and keep only the AA.xlsx unhidden as it's designed to be. Right. So when we now go to the X menu, this is your Excel environment menu. Excel environment. So basically, what it means, if I just go here, show you here on the X menu, is calling it Excel environment menu. So in this particular menu, X menu, all these commands you carry out while you are within Excel, if you like. You are within the whole Excel system or Excel program. But if you're, for example, using the AZMAT System calculation menu, like asset swap or bonds or whatever, you're doing those calculations within that particular financial model. So let's just to explain to you what's the difference between this, why I'm calling this Excel environment menu, and the Z menu would be, for example, asset swap menu, or G menu. In here we have the bond and FR and calculations menu. So you have the bond model commands there, you have the bond and FRN model commands there, and these commands are specific to FRN model commands. So in here, all the commands here are specific to the Excel environment menu command. So let's just show you very quickly. I'm just going to open the asset swap model. All you have to open it, you just click it. There. You have the ZB AZMAT.xls. This is the asset swap model. And in this particular, we won't go through it right now. We will go through in another session. But in here, add in Z menu. Z menu is specifically for all asset swap menu commands. All these commands can only be used when you have the asset swap model open. Okay? Except, for example, you may have, let me just see if there is anything common one I have here. No. You could, for example, here, load old transaction deal or save over old transaction deal. These two commands are also available under the bonds menu. Bonds menu in here. No, I don't see it here, because you have the actual, sorry, what I meant was you could use these load or create transaction deal database, not that one, but the old particular one, or the save over old, because you also have the bond menu as well in the database. We'll go through that when we actually get to that one. Right now, think of this one, the asset swap menu, all these commands specific to asset swap model, except one or two which could also be used for in one or two other models, but all the rest can only be used while the asset swap model is currently open and active. So I'm just going to go back to the AA.xls. So the difference, the reason I opened this one is to show you that this while the ZB or the bond model or the FRN model is open, that is not Excel environment menu. This is access swap model environment, if you like. So access swap model commands all can be used here while you have got this file open. Whereas when I go to this file, AA, or any other your Excel files, then you could use any of these commands, Excel environment menu. Note, just to confuse you, you may find it confusing, I'm afraid, but the present value, these are the calculations. It just doesn't mean just present value. It means calculate the present value, calculate the yield, and the calculate present value and yield. These are also available under the Z menu, but you will see they are like if I go back to the let's go back to in here. So just remember, in here we also have the present value and the bond yield and so on, but you will see them later on. You will not actually, because right now the cash flows, everything is nothing because I haven't actually done any deal properly to open up here. One thing in here is wrong, maturity date must be greater than our settlement date. So this one here, if I change that to, for example, 2018, now if you go down, see, you have not many calculations, not many cash flows here. So let me change it to maybe let's say 23 or something. So we have a few more years. So now you have a few more rows. So that depends how many cash flows are shown, depends on the actual maturity date. So that was just slightly diverging. In fact, what I'm going to do is here from there, I'm going to just take this and copy. You'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. I'm just taking go into here and the cash flows, for example. I'm going to just put here and say paste spatial, paste formatting, paste spatial there, and values. Okay, right. Now, note what's happening here. I've got the dates and the cash flows, but in here, because the original formatting was only up to there, and I have copied from there to there, these extra rows as well. Excel, this is actually the notes. Excel uses the dates, not as like this, Monday, 28th of February, 2022, but as a number. The dates are converted in the number and Excel uses the date. So what I'm going to do is simply take these three, because I have 3 rows here, to copy that, for example, there, and I'll go here. I could just select that one, it will give the 3, but I'll go there and say paste formatting. So it'll paste the formats of these dates cells in here and in here, so that the negative values, because minus 808.88, all that, two things here. One, I want to be negative values to be shown in red, as like here. Also, I don't want to see any decimal points, so I want it to be shown as integer values. So by simply clicking there, paste the formats here, it will do that there. So all the decimal points gone, is showing me only the integer values. And if I now click the escape key, that's gone. And as you notice, this is a positive number. plus, there's no negative, it's not negative, and so it's not shown in red. Only the negative numbers are shown in red. Like here, this is 1 million minus. So SSOP model, if you want to have a generate quickly cash flows, that's the best way to do it. Open the SSOP model, and in here, for example, here, I'm also going to copy this bit here as well. So I go back to the SSOP model, and I want to copy in here this lot, copy that. This is the simplest, quickest way of using cash flows, which makes sense, rather than you could make your own cash flows, but you have to know various things. You have to actually know when you would have, why you have these different dates and so on. Is to begin with, I wouldn't advise you to start making your own dates because they may not even make sense. So the calculations may not come out correctly. So the best way is to use SSO model, open the SSO model, and put some maturity date in here. And note that we have actually got here, it says input data has been changed. PV yield and net PL results displayed may not be correct because we haven't done any calculations. So all these results here, anything which is not in yellow or green, sorry, yeah, the yellow or we'll go into this later when we go into SSO model, why these three items are in green, the others are in yellow, and the others are in blue, all these. We will be diverging from what I want to do. So right now I want to concentrate on the X menu, but this is important just to show you what you need to do is open as SSO model. You go in there, J menu, click the SSO model if it's not open. If it's open already, all you need to do is go into this Windows, click it and get there, and change, once you're on SSO model, change the maturity date to something like, so from the current, we are right now, it's 26th August 2017, so I put it about 6 years ahead. Okay, it doesn't have to be, maybe something like that, because these swaps are some, so they could be less, they could be more, but around 5-6 years will give you a good number of rows for the calculations. Notice that they are all annual, roughly about a year ahead. The reason for that is very simple. Here we have the coupon frequencies annual shown here, A for annual. Anyway, again, I'll be diverging from the main thing I want to do now. So, but just if you just change the maturity date, simple one thing on the SSO model, it's the quickest way of generating cash flows. Okay, so I'll take this is the swap cash flows, the bond cash flows. We'll go through in later on what these are. If you're not familiar with this, what the bond is, what a swap is, and so on. We'll go in later. So I'm going to copy. You might also have noticed that I've got all the commonly used icons, commonly used commands. I don't want to go through these Excel, find, oh, like the copy command is, oh, it's under home, or is it under this, is it under that, or is it under formula. What I've done is, and we will go through in another tutorial, you'll see all these commands which I've added, these icons. Most commonly are the ones I use. I'll go through in all these in another tutorial, how you can add them to your own Excel ribbon here, so that you can quickly access them. Notice I'm not going to go through review or view or developer to see which command is. I'm using my own, these icons, which I placed them there. So I want to copy that. So there's a copy command and go through. And you also might notice when we go into the Excel, this is Excel 2007, Excel version 12. when I go to the other versions, Excel 2010 or 2016, you will notice that all these icons I've added to those as well, to every single version of Excel I'm using, so that every time I open Excel, whether it's Excel 2007, 2010, or 2016, all those icons are in exactly the same place. What's more, when I'm using the Word as well, Microsoft Word, so Excel, so Word 2007 or 2010 and so on, I'm using same icons, except of course, most of these commands, half of it at least, are not available in Word because they don't make sense. So they are not available. For example, the insert rows and columns, insert rows or delete rows and columns is not available because there is no delete cells or insert cells or whatever. You might notice here of what is just again diverging slightly, insert copied cells. It's because at the moment I've actually got the copy command open. That's why it's saying copied, insert copied cells. But I'm not actually doing that. But that is actually insert rows command if I have nothing, no copy command open. So those obviously are not applicable in Microsoft Word, so they will not be available. But otherwise, all these open files, close files, all these, whichever, they are same in both Word and Excel, and I've used the same icons in exactly the same place. Right, let's go back to what we're doing here. I want to copy these cash flows into my user file. So I want there. I'll just use that because I don't know exactly how many rows are. Couldn't be bothered. I could have calculated, and then, for example, I could go back here and see I've got 3, 6, 7, right? 3, 5, 7, 7 rows, 2 columns. So I could go and either select that's 6. If you notice here in the top left corner, you will see right now it's got C of date 3 because that's the C of date 3, that's the name. But if I hold the mouse down up to there, you will notice here it should say 6 rows and 2 columns. There, 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows, and 2 columns. Right, I have got 7 rows and 2 columns, so I'm going to use, I can use either that, 7 rows, 2 columns, and then use the copy that, or I could just simply open the, select the top cell, and it'll automatically copy the data in this area, 7 rows by 2 columns. The only difference is if I get it wrong, then Excel will treat it as of course it's an error. If I say like that, select only 3 rows, 2 columns, and try to copy 6 rows, 2 columns, which I had selected in here. If I go and show again, I've got 6 rows, 7 rows, 3, 6, 7, 7 rows, 2 columns. And if I go and say, right, copy this lot in, I select here. Of course, it's an error. You can't copy 7 rows, 2 columns into 3 rows, 2 columns. So it will give me an error message. So let's actually try and do that, see what happens. You'll see what I mean. So I'm going to say paste special and values. See, do you want to replace the contents of the destination cells? So what Excel has done now, it actually in older versions of Excel, you'll actually get an error message. We are now in 2007. So Excel realizes that you have made a mistake. So rather than telling you, oh, you made a mistake, it actually, what it's done is selected 7 rows, 3, 6, 7 rows and 2 columns, and asking you simple question. Do you want to replace the contents of the destination cell? So there are these extra, if you like, these are improvements to be appreciated. So because I selected only 3 rows by 2 columns, and I was copying 7 rows by 2 columns, what Excel has done, instead of in older versions, it would have come up with simply saying error, that you put the destination area does not match the source areas, something like that. We will actually, I might do that in another tutorial just to show you what I mean. But in this one here, it's selected the actual correct area, 7 rows by 2 columns, and it's asking me, do you want to replace the content in the destination cell? If I can say no, if I've got something else there, or I'll say yes. In this case, I'll say yes. Notice that here we have got the format is as in this here when we did in the last 3 cells, the format was not actually copied. Here, the format again is only up to there, unless I've actually got this format. I don't know whether I've actually formatted there or not, same. But let's see. So in this case, I'm copying, yes, the destination cells, right? Yeah, copy 7 rows by 2 columns. Okay, done. And as you saw here, right, just before we do anything else, if you notice here, I'm still in the copy mode. So I've got to use the escape key to cancel this there until you're ready. Always make sure whenever you're copying and you're doing, do enter the press key afterwards before you start doing something else, because you are in the copy mode. And that way, if I go back and actually have a look at that, it's no longer highlighted. Well, it's highlighted, selected, yes, but it's not flashing, clicking. I'm sorry, no, well, it is not in the flashing mode, because it would be like if I say, for example, if I don't have to have anything in here, actually, I could say, for example, copy there, as you can see that. Until I copy that and click escape. When I click escape, this will disappear. So that is, always do that whenever you've done any copy command. After you finish the copy, press the escape key to finish that copy mode, if you like. Okay, I've done that. I've copied that. I've copied the cash flows there, cash flows there, in here, go back there. And in here, because the reason it didn't copy the format of the source, and the source, if you notice here, this is also actually in this format. Didn't copy that because I had copied, if you remember, I used in here, I used the paste is special. When I used the copy command, I used not the paste, which would have copied the actual formats as well, and the formulae as well, right? Which would not make sense here. I didn't want to copy the formula. I wanted to just copy the values. So I used the paste special. And then in the paste special, of course it won't come anything in paste special because I'm not actually in the copy mode yet. But if I was copying something, which I will in a minute now here, for example, I'm going to copy this. So if I go and copy, then I select the paste special, then it opens the paste special dialog box. Of course, if I hadn't clicked the copy command, copy icon rather, if I hadn't started the copy, there's nothing to paste special or even paste. So then I selected the value at that point. Now I want to copy the formats. So I can use like that. I had last time, if you remember, I actually used paste formatting. It's not showing me now because I've got this dialog box open. I'd use the paste special. Sorry, this is the paste special. I use the paste format icon because I use it very often. So I'd actually use it there. But you can also use paste special and then select the format if you want. Exactly the same format. So we will have the format of the date format and the number format from the, if I move it away from there to here, if I simply click the format. So the date format and this number format. In this case, if you notice the 50,000 is just, there's no comma, whereas here 50, comma, 1,000. So there's a 1,000 separator. So which is not here, it's going to copy that format here and copy that format there. Click OK. Sorry, oh, my fault. I've not actually selected that, my target. This is my target, right? Okay, I'm copying that, and this is my target. I can only just select one if I want to, because I'm saying copy this, the 2 columns, so I don't have to select the 2. I could select the first, the top left, and it will automatically copy the format from there to there, from there to there. Now, so if I go back, I could just use the paste formatting, as I said, it will do that, or I will use paste special, and because I'd already moved the dialog box here, it's already here, and this time I'll say paste the format, OK, there. So it's copied the format and the format of this number as well. So now we have 50,000 separated by comma, and now in order to cancel this copy command, because it's still in the copy mode, select destination and press enter or choose paste. I don't want to do any more copying the formatting anymore, formatting or this, anything for that. So press the escape key now. So it's cancel that copy command, and we are here ready. Always do that whenever you finished, when you finished doing the copying, click escape key to cancel the command. Notice if you actually simply click somewhere else, your mouse, it won't copy the copy. It won't cancel the copy command because Excel might think you actually are actually want to copy the format of formulae or the values somewhere else as well. So you have to use the, if you use the escape key command to cancel that, then Excel knows that you want to cancel the command. Right, so we have actually got to generate the cash flows. Going back again, best way, quickest way is to go and change the, in fact, I might actually calculate, I might actually generate some extra cash flows before I finish that. So I go here back in the SSOP model, and this time I'm actually, because I'm not actually going to do any calculations here for that as per se, I'll change. So in here, just want to show you something. If you may, if in case it's not obvious, I'm going to split the screen in two, because it affects what we are doing, the cash flows. That's why I want to show you this right now. Not necessarily going to show there. So we have the reason here, if you notice, this is 30th August 2017, 29th August 2018, and 9th 2019, and so on. Annual, right? 1 year frequency. Because the coupon, these are called coupons, the interest, whatever, interest, if you like, you're known, but they're called coupons in bonds. And it's annual, so A for annual. Semi-annual as Q quarterly, or you could use once a year, twice a year for semi-annual, 4 times a year for quarterly, same thing. Again, same thing I can use here. And this time the LIBOR, again, we'll go into that later, what it stands for and so on. S is semi-annual. That means twice a year. That's why the dates, if you notice, August, February, August, February, August, February. Only reason these are in August here because the current date here is in August. So when we get to September, then it'll become September, and then March, September, March, if it is semi-annual, and so on. And all these dates will also be in September, of course. So that's what it is. So it says annual, semi-annual. I could change it if I want. I can make this annual, for example. I say A, and watch what happens here. August, February, August, February, August, 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 August. Same as that. Right? Or if I change it to quarterly, Q, quarterly, and see what happens. It's going to be 4 times this number of rows because it'll be separated by quarter. So it'll be August, and then so you have August and September, October, November, and then February, and so on. You'll see. August, November, February, May, August, November, February, May, and so on, because it's quarterly frequency. See, AZMAT system is calculating. It's not Excel. You are now in SSO model of AZMAT system. It's an absolute, it's a marvelous system on its own, just the SSO model alone. You'll notice that it's all done, and they're all cash flows calculated in seconds. As soon as I change the frequency, they're all calculated. So I've changed it back to, say, semi-annual there. And so 2 things should happen. The number of rows will be halved because it's semi-annual. So it won't be so many because it's every 6 months there. So it's half the number of rows. Okay, so let's now, so we've got that. Let's change the dates. I'm going to change the dates to, so instead of 23, let's change it to 2020, for example. So we just have 4. I'm going to copy this first. Doesn't have to have to copy this or that, but I'm just going to do that. Copy and go back to the Excel environment. Remember that we were in the SSOP environment. Now we are in the Excel environment. I'm going to just select that, and later on I'll just delete what I don't need. So here I'll say not paste, I'll use a paste special value. Okay, so I have that. I'm going to delete these 2 and even that as well. I don't need it here. Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong key. I meant to delete it and I pressed the wrong key. Okay, I want to delete that there. So the CF date 2, I'll have to, we'll go into that later on, define that. I'll go back in there and I'm going to copy these. Copy. You'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. We go back here. This has got 3, 6, 7. 3, 6, 7 rows, 2 columns. So I go back to there. I'm going to go back up here. And what I'm going to do is 7 rows, 2 columns. If you notice in the top left corner here, it will say how many rows and columns. So R7, 7 rows times 2 columns to see. Okay, this is where I want to copy. So paste, spatial, copy the values there. And now escape. Right? Cancel the copy command. Now notice that I actually this time I didn't have to copy the formats of the dates already here. Reason for that is I had used earlier on in this file, I'd already formatted the whole this area with that format, date format and that format, the number format. And that's why although I only copied the values, they're already in the correct format. So what we'll do now, we've got some dates here to work with. So makes sense. So 2017 there. So there, and the C update 3, C update. We have other cash flow. So defined, but we're not going to change those. We'll leave those alone. Right. 13 rows, 2 columns. Now, if you notice that if I originally had about there, I think C update 4. Now, so C update 4 was from there to there, and now I've added these extra rows. If I use the actual C update 4, cash flow date 4 area, it will use only this from there to there, what is defined. I have to change the name up to here if I want to use a full cash flow date. Similarly here, cash flow date 3, if I let it go now, the mouse, I'm holding down the mouse, it will change from 6 row 2 columns to C update 3 there, because that's what I had originally defined. Similarly, if I go back here, this was cash flow date. I don't know where it was. It was probably around here. No, it's not. No, I don't know where it was. There. But if I now actually want to see what they are, let's see. Define names. If I go in there, name manager. So define names, name manager will tell you C update 1 from row 4 to 414. And this is also, you can see the C update 4 and 5, what they are. Not only that, the actual value, what it's got is actually, if you notice that if I put my cursor there, it puts all the actual dates and the values as an array. So you notice that the date, the value is 0. So if I have to open date quickly, if I move, that is 50,000. So the first date, I cannot use my mouse. As soon as I move my mouse, it goes away. But if you can read, after the first date, this is 30th August, then there is a value. Here is -1 million. And then after the second date, 50,000 and so on. So the whole of that area, C update 4, is defined as an array. But here the actual refers to the number of rows where it is here. So cancel it. So this we can go through in the name manager to see what each name is defined as. And you can define the names themselves, change it, and so on. Okay, let's just have a quick look at these. So I'm not going to do that. Format there. Defined names. view code. This is going around the, and are in here, define the name. So if you want to define the name, so I want to define the name from here, receive date 1, for example, 7 row by 2 columns from row 7 2 columns. I have to use that in order to, actually here, let me just simply not go through this because this particular one, this session, I am diverging again from my main aim. I want to concentrate on, go back to the X menu, go through these commands. We won't go through the actual each value command because it could be this session then could last for several hours. So let's concentrate on this one right now. And I'm just going to go through, I hope, I hope you don't mind. We will go through each of these, the actual Excel environment as a completely separate, in a separate tutorial. Let's just stick to this one. Let's go back here. Let's start here. Each of these commands. Okay, so X menu is called Excel environment, and why is called Excel environment? Because in here, if I just take it off, you are in Excel environment. Whereas in here, so whatever I do here, I'm actually using Excel commands, if you like, just for that. Then within that environment, I'm using to calculate the present value, yield, discount factors, and so on, other things. Whereas if I go to the asset swap model, I am not in Excel environment. I am actually using Excel, but this is 100% AZMAT System asset swap model environment, if you like. All the commands here in the Z menu, from here, Z menu commands, you can use any of these commands only when you have got asset swap model active. Active means currently open, visible right now. Okay. So in earlier versions of Excel, up to Excel 2003, the Z menu, this, if I have to move it here in order to, then you see the Z menu here. If I click it, the Z will go off because it's moving to the right. The Z menu would not even be visible. If you watch the tutorial for Excel 2003 or Excel 7, which is Excel for Windows 95, or Excel 2003, which is Excel 11, running under Windows XP. You can see that by the tutorials, it's actually in the title, so you'll know which tutorial I'm talking about. The Z menu, the asset swap menu, would only be visible in the earlier versions of Excel, only when the actual, in this particular case, asset swap model file is currently active. However, just to show you, I've got currently asset swap model file open. I can access the Z menu, but if I actually move it to the AA file, this is not asset swap model, but in this later version, this is, if you like, we're going, it's not so, whereas if you remember the copy command, if I got the target number of rows, I'm copying, not the same as the source. Remember, the source was 7 rows, and I had 6 rows open here when I was copying this one. Target, I had 6 rows. Excel version 2007, Excel 2007, or Excel version 12, this is, helpfully selected the number of rows as I had in the source. Number of rows in source one, I had 7 rows. So it selected 7 rows and said, oh, is this what I want? Is it okay? I said, yes. So it copied that. Whereas in earlier versions of Excel, that would have generated an error message saying the source area, the target area rather, does not match the source area, and something like that. And then you have to then select it correctly. Whereas in later versions of Excel, like right now and here, Excel 2007 and 10 and so on, it actually improves on that by giving the option already selecting the correct number of rows, same as the source. However, the negative point, if you like, the way I look at it is negative point, I cannot, as a programmer, I cannot dictate, I cannot tell Excel that make a particular menu, for example, the Z menu, only available when a particular file is active, file or workbook is active. Right? In this case, it's going to show this. This is showing, as you can see, I've got access to the asset sort model commands. This Z menu is asset sort, specific to asset sort model. So if I move here, you'll see Z menu. It's available to me here, even though this is not asset sort model. Whereas in earlier versions of Excel, I could tell Excel to only display this menu, make it only available or visible when the asset sort model is active. But in later versions, as this one on from now on here, 2007 and so on, I cannot do so. It just simply displays all the menus you have defined, whatever file. You do not have that option. Okay, so let's go back here now. So we go back to the X menu, present value. This session, actually, what I can do is I'll tell you what I'll do. Since we have gone quite a long session already, it's become, I'll start another session which will deal with the X menu, another tutorial. Right now, I'll start, which will deal specifically with the tutorial X menu right from the beginning. And this one, I'll rename it, this tutorial, not X menu, but as, if you like, a general one. So I'm going to stop it right now and start another tutorial, because this tutorial has gone, if I look at the time, if I actually click there, 3:20 a.m. when I had started this particular tutorial, it's around 4:30 a.m. So it's about an hour and 10 minutes. So what I'll do is, because that itself, X menu one, I wanted to specifically, when someone looks at that particular tutorial, if it says X menu, we will go through that in that tutorial right from the beginning, like I did the K menu, which is all 20 pages of that. And it took about 2 hours, 50 minutes, that one. So this, if I start X menu and here, it will just become very, very long tutorial. So I'll stop this tutorial right now and begin another tutorial, and we'll go straight into the X menu. Okay, so see you in that tutorial. And the way you know it is in the name of the tutorial, it will say so, what it is. So see you in that tutorial for the X menu. Bye.